A young woman named Simbiat was known throughout the village for her unparalleled beauty. She was so beautiful that no one could compare with her beauty. But above all, Simbiat was known for her pride. From a young age, Simbiat was taught that pride was a virtue to be cherished. Her parents, both esteemed members of the community, instilled a sense of confidence and self-worth. However, as Simbiat grew older, her pride began to morph into arrogance. With each passing day, Simbiat's arrogance swelled like a balloon filled with hot air. She would strut through the village with her head held high, dismissing the compliments and greetings of her fellow villagers with a disdainful flick of her wrist. She believed herself to be above them all, destined for greatness beyond the confines of the small village. One day, news arrived in the village of a great festival to be held in a distant kingdom. It was said that the king himself would attend and there would be contests of strength, skill, and beauty with grand prizes for the winners. It was also said that the winner, a maiden, would get married to the king's son, therefore making that maiden the next queen to be. Simbiat's eyes gleamed with excitement at the prospect of showcasing her beauty and proving herself superior to others. She wondered how she would look like as the queen. With so much confidence, Simbiat set out for the kingdom, dressed very elegant and looking very beautiful, her heart brimming with pride and ambition. As she arrived at the festival ground, she was greeted by a sea of faces from far and wide, each competitor as eager and determined as she was. The contest began, and lots of maidens displayed themselves in beautiful gowns, native attires, and finally freestyle dresses. But none was as beautiful as Simbiat. She was always in front. She put on a show for the crowd to see only her. Simbiat dazzled the crowd with her grace and charm. She effortlessly outshone her rival in the beauty contest, leaving them in awe of her radiant presence, and Simbiat's pride swelled to a dangerous height. In the final contest, a test of skill and creativity, it remained only two standing last, Simbiat and the poor farmer's daughter, Toke. Simbiat found herself competing against a humble farmer's daughter in a cooking contest. The crowd watched in anticipation as the two competitors cooked a meal for the crowd to savor. At first, Simbiat felt she was too beautiful to debase herself to cook. At home, her arrogance blinded her to the point where she felt she didn't need to learn how to cook from her mother, and her mother left her alone. So instead of making an effort in the competition, she scoffed at the farmer's daughter, mocking her lack of refinement. But as she reached the point where she actually needed to cook with the ingredient provided, she panicked, wondering how she will cook the meal. Meanwhile, Toke was excited and started preparing to cook. After a while, Simbiat looked at her ingredients and saw a condiment. Then she started cooking and then took that condiment and poured lots of it into her cooking. Simbiat looked at herself and looked at her meal and then smiled that she had outdone herself. Then it was time for the ladies to present their food on a large table for the king, his son, the elders, and the villagers to have a taste of their cooking. As they took a bite of Toke's food, they all smiled and nodded in approval. But as they took a bite of Simbiat's food, they all spat out in annoyance, and the crowd gasped in horror as they witnessed the expression on the king's face. Simbiat's heart crumbled, and she was broken. Her pride shattered. She wondered why the excess sugar she poured into her cooked soup didn't make her food delicious. She felt so much shame as the crowd laughed at her. Still holding a spoon in her hand, her heart sank, and her arrogance flew out of her. Obviously, Toke won the contest and married the king's son. From that day, she learned a lesson of humility. She realized that true greatness does not come from arrogance and vanity, but from humility and respect for others. She needed to learn the right things to become a responsible citizen of the village. And though her journey had been marked by pride and folly, she learned that pride always comes before a fall, and never again Was she going to be arrogant and proud again?